Well, we continue with the final segment of our broadcast this morning, right here on Salam Media. We are looking at South Africa, looking at our youth, looking at the scholars in particular, the Association of Muslim Schools. Moulana Ibrahim Bismillah is with us. And we are asking this question about schools and what is playing out in schools, Muslim schools in particular, regarding this genocide that is unfolding, this humanitarian crisis, and also considering the fact that Gaza is being pounded into the Stone Age, looking at the inhabitants of Gaza, 2 million people, 1 million of which are young people, and their lives have been disrupted for a very, very long time. For 75 years, people have lived an entire life through their youth, through being a child, right till being an old person or an elderly person. They've lived through this occupation, and this is what the Palestinian children are being subjected to on a day to day basis, disrupting their lives, just disrupting the life of growing up as a child in a normal environment. This is how serious the situation is, and also all the other impact, the killing of many many young children in Palestine, and also disrupting their dreams and their ambitions in life. Moulana Ibrahim Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah for having me.
I mean, Jazakallah khairan so much. Maulana, for the very reasons that I speak of, and I know this communication that has gone through from the Association of Muslim Schools, addressed to all principals, educators, staff, and this urgent notice with regard to the Gaza situation, to inspire our youth, to motivate our youth, to create awareness, to inform, to educate them, but also at the same time, to identify with the plight of children like them in other parts around the world, in Palestine in particular, what they're going through right now.
Okay. So what we done is the Association of Muslim Schools. We understand that our children are the future. So it's important for them, to understand firstly what is happening in Gaza, and also one is to create awareness, and also to give them correct information about what is happening. So many schools, would see the situation currently in Gaza, and based on that, just have one or two items, or maybe Surah Yasin and that. But we as association, our stance was that, what, we've identified at least four areas which collectively all our schools could do together, and from that, build awareness, and sort of build up, towards dua, charity, etc. Okay, so we've identified four areas which we encourage our schools, to practice or to implement in their schools. And the first thing, like I mentioned, is creating awareness. That it is vital that we educate our learners about the situation in Gaza. Okay. So this, I mean, this can't be done over one day or 2 days, but it should be a continuous thing. So once our learners understand exactly what is happening in Gaza, why is there conflict, and more important than that is, putting our learners into perspective. Putting them, making them understand. So us as adults, we may understand, what is happening, what is like for learners to go through those difficulties. And like you said, most of the people that are suffering in Gaza are the children. So the important thing is to put learners in perspective. For example, if you were to look at, if you were isolated in your community, and there was nothing, there was no electricity, not load shedding for a few hours, but there's a total cutoff of electricity, total cutoff of water, of food. How would you survive? You get hurt. Building next to you is been bombed. Your neighbors are not there. Somebody is hurt. You don't have medical supplies. There's nobody to attend to them, etc., etc. To go into the details of it, but just to put learners in that type of perspective, so then when we go on to the next part of it, when we encourage them to make dua, when they're making this dua, the dua is a bit more sincere, and they know what they're making dua for and how their brothers are affected in Gaza as well.
Yes, Moulana, extremely important in terms of what you are saying in providing and equipping them with the right information, with the correct information, but also to appreciate what Palestinians are going through. Because for many of us who have lived through the apartheid era, we know what injustice is about, we know what oppression is about, and that is why we can appreciate and identify with the Palestinian cause. The new generations, obviously far removed, they haven't grown up. They've grown up in a democratic, they're growing up in a totally different environment. But this is a campaign that needs to be sustained. This is a campaign that needs to be maintained all the time. And I know when we had Abir Zayad and we had the opportunity of visiting many a Muslim school, and we were encouraged to know that many Muslim schools on a regular basis talk about these things. And it's just when events like these take place, it becomes more urgent, and the need becomes greater, it becomes more critical. So all the interventions that you're speaking about, yes, we need to make dua. Dua is the most powerful weapon of a Muslim. The recitation of Surah Yasin, extremely important. Charity, extremely important, because these are the actions that we are commanded by Islam to do at a time like this. But also this whole question of creating awareness. So alhamdulillah, in a right direction, definitely. And this intervention on the part of the Association of Muslim Schools need to be applauded, Maulana.
Jazakallah for that. And even like you've correctly mentioned, what our past is, part of apartheid. Even part of the awareness is not only to focus on Gaza, but also what that to highlight that this is a humanitarian issue, just a human rights issue. So even if you exclude the iman part from the people of Gaza, just to look at the atrocities that happening, towards any human being, this is not acceptable. So like we know in many of our so-called, or even though we have Muslim schools, we have many people who are not Muslims. So it's not that we're showing sensitivity because the Gaza is Muslims, but it's a worldwide issue. It's a humanitarian issue. It's a human right issue. So our learners should understand that even though this happened in Gaza, should it be happening in any other part of the world, if those people be they whether they're Muslims or non-Muslims, I mean, we should still have the same worry and concern for them.
Well, definitely, Molana, and it's encouraging to note that the thinking is along these lines on humanitarian issues, because this obviously would put future generations in good stead to actually appreciate what is taking place around them, and this in itself alone is very, very encouraging, Molana.
So I mean, so even in part of our awareness, for our learners, is that the significance of Palestine, the significance of Gaza as well. So to highlight, what did happen in those areas before, as part of our history, as part of all the different Anbiya that passed through all those lands, what is happening now, and also what is going to be happening in the future in all those lands. So learners are aware, or should be aware of the conditions that are going to come. As Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam advised Hudayfa radiallahu anhu, that as these trials and tribulations are going to come, they'll come like as the cutting, or the breaking of a tasbih, where one will just follow after the other. So the important thing is, even though while we creating awareness amongst our learners, we need to equip them with the tools that when they face any of these difficulties, what should they do and how do they combat it. So this is also part of our plan after creating awareness, is that we should always turn to Allah Ta'ala in dua. All conditions that are happening, whether it is around us, whether it is in Gaza, wherever it is, and even in future, whatever difficulties and challenges that they face, Allah Ta'ala is the controller of hearts, Allah Ta'ala is the controller of conditions. So in all these different difficulties that they facing, that they should always remember that Allah Ta'ala is there, and they should always turn to Allah Ta'ala in dua. And also another approach is by opening our hearts and opening up our pockets, that we encourage them, even if it's a 1 rand, a 2 rand, 10 rand, 100 rand, whatever it is, even though it might be a bit difficult to get relief directly into Gaza now, but there are a lot of our organizations that are doing work, But the whole idea behind it is to take out at least something to show that Allah, you know what, we are so far away. We sharing in the pain of our brothers and sisters who are so far. We are making dua, and also from our wealth, we're trying to see that how we can help and we can assist them in whichever way.
Well, inshallah, in fact, Maulana, I'm quite liking what I'm hearing coming out of the Association of Muslim School. Alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala accept, Allah reward your efforts. And, we see even the Jamiatul Ulama South Africa has issued some sort of a guidelines to the ulama as well in terms of the member, in terms of the Jummah khutbah, in terms of what to say. So, this information, Alhamdulillah, is going out amongst the ulama circles now, is going out through our learners at the schools as well. And inshallah, as a community, as society, and collectively, inshallah, we can make a huge difference by inspiring, by informing, by educating one another, and also to carry out all the good actions, the du'as, the recitation of Surah Yasin, all of that, alhamdulillah, as an ummah, collectively we do it, inshallah. And at the end of the day, as you mentioned, Maulana, Allah Ta'ala is a control of things, and ultimately, inshallah, victory will be on the side of the oppressed. Maulana, Jazakallah for your time, much appreciated. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah for having me.
Maulana Ibrahim, Bismillah was our Association of Muslim School, and I'm just looking at a message that has come out. Leave Israel alone from Ken Peters. Now, Ken Peters, if you are watching, I am wearing a net scarf, and we've got a South African flag, and the South African flag says Free Gaza. So, as South Africa, we cannot leave Israel alone for many reasons. This is not only a religion issue, this is a humanitarian issue, and people are being slaughtered by this brutal regime that you are asking us to leave alone. And with that, I'm going to end off my broadcast, but I will be leaving you with a video clip that we are playing out. So until we meet tomorrow, from myself and the team, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.